Information provided is for illustrative purposes only and does not constitute investment, tax, or legal advice. Information has been obtained from sources that are deemed to be reliable, but its accuracy and completeness are not guaranteed. Neither LPL Financial nor the hosts of this show or accept any liability for the use of the information discussed. Consult with a qualified financial, legal, or tax professional prior to taking any action. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA SIPC. Investment advice offered through Ostro Financial Consultants, a registered investment advisor and separate entity from LPL Financial. Today's guest, Rick Fisher, is a financial advisor with Ostro Financial Consultants, National Planning, member SIPC.
Good morning and welcome to Beyond Investments here on News Talk KNCO AM 830. This is Seth Leishman from Ostro Financial. Welcoming back my co-host, Rick Fisher.
Hey, everyone.
Rick, you were out of the office enjoying a little time off?
Yes, a little time off.
Love it. Love it. It's actually going to come into play. We're going to talk a little bit about, not necessarily exactly your vacation. Or
but just some observations about this is our first travel vacation outside of the continental U.S. since COVID.
Yes.
And we were putting it off because of the restrictions of COVID.
Correct. Yes.
So we finally got there. So we went to the islands. And again, you were asking me earlier, was there anything really, any kind of leftover kind of stuff? And similar to what you see here. Right. So staffing shortages at restaurants.
Okay.
So wait times were longer. Attitudes of the servers was mixed. You have some ones that are good ones, and other ones are,
not so great.
One thing is what the resort we were staying at, I was there back in 2019 was the last time we were there, 18 or 19. And they had this great outside bar with big TVs, and you could sit there, and I watched some Dodger games and, had a few Mai Tais and, met people. And it was really kind of a cool social spot.
Right.
So I go out there this time. Everything is the same except for that bar is closed. They still have the monitors, but they're going to expand the activity center.
Oh, interesting.
And then they have this small, teeny tiny little bar in this other room. So some things, here we're 4 or 5 years later.
Right.
They said they're going to change the inside. They're going to make some changes, but again, staffing shortages. So fortunately, we went at a time where it wasn't. It's like, when you go on vacation, you don't want super crowded.
Right.
But having it dead is not fun either.
That's also not fun. Yeah, I agree.
So in Honolulu Bay, you want to have, and so there was nice, kind of amount of people. But again, some businesses have really strange hours.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
They're not open 7 days a week or 5 days a week.
Yeah.
And this one popular kind of daytime eating spot, because of staffing shortages, they say expect to wait at least 20 to 40 minutes for your food.
Oh.
So it's not a sit-down restaurant. Well, it is sit-down, but you kind of order, and then you sit down, and they bring it to you.
Ah, okay.
And so we tried to go there. It's like 20 to 40 minutes just to
wait around. Yeah.
And then the other thing is, so there's a hotel called the Princeville Hotel. That's what it used to be called. It's now called The One.
Okay.
And we'd been at the Princeville Hotel numerous times to go for brunch. We never stayed there per se. It's a little pricey. But this time we go there. It was a $250 million remodel.
Cool.
It's totally unrecognizable, totally different style.
Wow.
And the food was good. The service was good. The view, people go there a lot of times. It's got a killer view of sunset. I mean, there's outside areas and you watch the sunset. And so that was Hawaii. Again, we had great weather, enjoyed ourselves, but some of the issues that we find here on the mainland, you have in Hawaii. Prices are a lot higher, obviously, than they used to be.
Definitely.
Shipping costs and a lot of shortages on certain things because of shipping costs.
Okay.
But we'll probably go back again. I mean, it was nice. There was no before you had to be COVID tested and all that waiting period. I said, I'm not doing that. I'm not going to go on vacation and be sequestered in my room for 3 or 4 days.
Yes.
So that thankfully is over.
Oh, good.
For now.
Yes.
Then I went to Minneapolis on some family business for a couple of days, annual meeting. Of course, during the riots.
Some people would call Minneapolis the Midwest.
It is the Midwest.
It's so far north. Is there such a thing as the North Midwest?
I guess
the North Midwest.
We had very nice weather.
Good. That's good.
And that's why we have the annual meeting in June and not in December.
Yes.
But the meeting went well. I was talking to a couple of my friends that they were born and raised in Minneapolis.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But they have moved on since then. But they were saying that those areas that were torched back in, was it 20 for the riots?
Yeah, from all the riot stuff there, yeah.
None of it's been rebuilt.
Oh, it's so
it's
sad.
still staying there.
Yeah.
And Minneapolis has had its challenges.
Of course. Yeah, like many.
But they were saying that compared to last year and 2 years ago, a lot of people are coming back in the standard downtown area. So things are getting better, but there's just that one area.
Especially in particular that area that got really devastated from rioting and stuff like that. But they're nonviolent riots, remember.
Let's not go there.
Let's not go there. We won't go there today. Let's dive in. You have some trivia for us today?
We do have some trivia.
Okay, very good.
So for this week.
Of course.
Okay.
We're halfway through the year.
Yeah, and we're going to kind of talk about that, things that people might want to do now that we're almost halfway
through, yeah.
So 1967, this was a shocker for me. The world's earliest known cash machine, forerunner of today's ATM, 67, begins dispensing paper money at a Barclays Bank branch in Enfield Town, England.
Oh, interesting.
It's strictly analog. Users must wait patiently as cue cards pulled along on rubber bands scroll across the front of the machine with instructions like, please enter your card.
Wow.
I still can't fathom. I need to see how that works.
Yes.
But 1967. So
1967.
I thought it would have been like late 70s.
Yeah.
I know when I was in banking in the early mid 80s, and we already had ATMs, but I think they hit the United States. I'm going to say late 70s. Anyways, moving on.
Isn't ATM one of those things that everyone always says? You throw the same word in that that it ends with ATM. People say ATM machine. Oh, I got to swing by the ATM machine.
Okay, I've been guilty.
Knowing that the M already stands for machine. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyways.
Okay. Well, I've been guilty of that. I think.
Oh, me too.
Going back to 1934, the National Housing Act is enacted into law by President Franklin D. Roosevelt, creating the Federal Housing Administration, which begins to provide insurance to protect private home mortgage lenders against the risk of default. That helps prevent home lending from drying up during the Depression and lays the groundwork for the mortgage bond markets that spring up in the 1970s. Going back a little further, 1899, Juan Trippe, I don't know how you pronounce the last name, founder of Pan Am and creator of the commercial airline industry, is born in Seabright, New Jersey. If he was born in 1890, that's weird. Okay, 1899, airline started in the 20s, so he was pretty young when he started that.
That's pretty young.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, 1890, Congress creates the first pension in which age is part of eligibility, as any veteran over age 65 becomes entitled to a monthly payment of between $6 and $12.
There you go.
So the first pension in the United States. Moving on to sports.
$6 to $12 a month. That's quite a bit back then.
Yeah, 1890.
1890. I would say it was quite a bit. That went a lot further.
Yes. See, $12. I don't know what. $6 will get you a gallon of gas.
Yep. $12. You can't even go to McDonald's for that anymore.
No, I remember you could get a meal for $5.
Yeah.
But I'm old. Anyways, moving on. We're moving on to sports.
Yes.
1914, defending champion Jack Johnson beats fellow American Frank Moran on points in 20 rounds in Paris, France, to retain his heavyweight championship boxing title. Have you ever seen The Great White Hope?
No.
It's a movie about, have you heard of Jack Johnson? Not the singer.
Boxer.
The boxer,
The boxer, yes.
Yes. So there's a movie that's got James Earl Jones plays Jack Johnson.
Oh, okay.
It's a good movie. It's a good movie. I've always been a fan of James Earl Jones.
Yeah.
The voice of Darth Vader.
The voice of Darth Vader.
Luke.
Yes.
Going back a little, 1939, Brooklyn Dodgers tie the Boston Bees 2-2 in 23 innings, called on the count of darkness, because this is before
before lights and stuff, yeah.
How long do you think that game lasted? 23 innings.
23 innings?
Yes.
Oh, it's got to be like 6 hours.
Close, 5 hours and 15 minutes.
Oh, there you go.
I thought that was relevant in this days that we've changed rules to get the game to go a little faster.
We've got the pitch count thing going. We've
Yeah.
got these. I mean, we've talked about this. I think the average game in the MLB this season is like 20-something minutes shorter, half an hour shorter,
Which
something like that.
I kind of like. And I like that there's more base stealing.
And they did say that, although they have said that the concession sales is down like 20, a huge percent, some big percentage, because you don't have all that much time.
Especially the Bud Light one, I bet.
Especially Bud Light. We're not going there.
I think we just did. Anyways,
Yes.
shorter games going to have
Shorter
less
games,
revenue.
you have less revenue from concessions. Absolutely. I certainly like it though. As a consumer of the game, say in particular on TV.
Right.
When you're there at the game, it's no big deal to be there for 3 hours. To me, anyways, I feel like it's part of the experience. Hey, I paid $20 to $300 to be there.
Exactly.
I kind of want the experience.
Right.
But if I'm watching it on TV on the couch, I kind of want to let's get this going. Come on, guys.
You can tape and record and move
I
forward.
know.
Anyways, okay. Here's for you Giants fans. 1977, Willie McCovey smashes 2 home runs, not in a game, but in an inning. For the second time.
Oh my goodness.
The first time he did it was April 12th of 1973. At first when I read it, I was going, well, 2 home runs, big deal. Oh, in an inning.
Yes.
So you batted around.
They batted around. Yes, enough that he got up twice. Yes.
Yeah, at least in the same inning, yes.
In the same inning.
Here's another one for Bay Area folks. 1990, Jose Canseco signs a record $4.7 million per year with the Oakland A's.
A record?
A record.
At
so that's
$4 million?
35 years ago?
Yeah.
35 years ago, 4.7 per year was a record.
And now you could add a zero. You could take the 4.7, move the decimal point over, and you're not far off.
Well,
it's a little bit much, but
Ohtani might get 47.
I would bet Ohtani goes 47 though.
Yeah, he'll get.
Yes.
I think he'll get at least that.
Yes,
we just don't know who it's going to be.
I mean, you already have Aaron Judge at what, $40 million a year average right now, whatever his is.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think it was like 40.
Yeah.
So you're not quite there, but it's not far away.
Yeah. Anyways, moving on to music.
Yes.
1970, one of my favorite bands, Queen, the newly formed Queen featuring Freddie Mercury, possibly still known as Freddie Bulsara.
Right.
On vocals, guitarist Brian May, drummer Roger Taylor, and Mike Gross on bass before John Deacon came around, played their first gig at Truro City Hall in Cornwall, England. They were billed as Smile, Brian May's previous band.
Yep.
Brian and Roger's previous band, for whom the booking had been made originally. Original material at this time included an early version of one of my favorite Queen songs, Stone Cold Crazy, which is considered one of the first true speed metal songs.
Very good.
I'll have to play it for you tonight. It's great, great tune.
Yeah.
Also in 1970, the Jackson 5 started a 2-week run at #1 on the U.S. singles chart with The Love You Save. I don't know if I know that song.
I've never heard it.
I know, I probably have heard it, I just didn't know that's the name of the song. It's
probably
one of those songs.
Yes.
The group's third #1 of the year.
Goodness gracious.
It made #7 in the UK. 3 #1s in 1 year.
That's pretty amazing.
That is amazing. 1968. So you've seen the movie Elvis Presley?
I have. The new one?
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So this is talking about what really happened. So 1968, Elvis Presley appears on an NBC TV show that was billed as his comeback special.
Right.
The show featured the King performing on a small square stage surrounded by mostly female audience. Presley was outfitted in black leather and performed many of his early hits.
Yes.
And on just general history, on this date, the 27th, I think, Archduke Ferdinand Francis in 1914 was assassinated along with his wife that started World War I. But also on that same date, the Treaty of Versailles was signed, which seems strange because the war didn't end until November. So maybe it took that long to finalize everything. Also on this date, U.S. Congress declared first Monday of September to be Labor Day, a holiday honor for the American worker. And it didn't say what year. Sorry about that. I can tell you in 1838, Queen Victoria was crowned Queen of United Kingdom of Great Britain and Ireland.
Very nice.
And last but not least, and the only reason I have this one, because back in San Diego when I was a kid, we had something called the Old Globe Theatre, which was modeled out the London's Globe Theatre in England. But it was destroyed by fire during a performance of William Shakespeare's Henry VIII on this day in 1613. The Globe Theatre was destroyed within an hour after its thatch was actually set aflame by a cannon marking the king's entrance on stage.
Oh.
So I used to go to the Old Globe Theater. It was a theater in the round, and it's still there. And I remember seeing many a Shakespeare and other plays there with my great aunt, and my grandmother, when I was a wee lad.
When a wee lad.
Yes. So that's it for trivia today.
All right, we're going to come back. We're going to talk about mid-year, as well as some more observations, a little bit of observation about what's going on with the economy when you get outside of our kind of Nevada County, kind of our little bubble, our Nevada County bubble. Where you're listening to Beyond Investments right here on News Talk, AM 830. Welcome back. You're listening to Beyond Investments here on News Talk KNCO, AM 830. I'm always scared I'm going to hit one of these other buttons. Whenever I hit that one for the music, I'm afraid I'm going to hit this one, or that one.
Well, sometimes that would be appropriate.
I know sometimes that would be, absolutely. We're going to talk a little bit. We're almost halfway through the year, man. Rick.
Just in a few days, right?
Right.
When is the actual technical? Is it the end of this month? Is it half?
Well, it'll be June 30th.
June 30th. Okay,
technically.
So we got 3 days.
Well, I should say I don't know if that's half of the 365 days, but that's half of the months are done.
Exactly. And that's
so we'll call it that. We'll call that close enough. You begin to look back a little bit, hopefully, to see, hey, what were some things that I planned on? My New Year's resolutions,
which we
my
discussed.
goals, right?
Mm-hmm.
We've talked New Year's resolutions many times. Now's a good time. It's about you're halfway through the year.
Take a gut check and see where you are to plan.
How's it been going?
Yeah. So if you planned on saving $1,000 a month, or putting certain percentage away in your 401k, did you make that change early in the year?
Yes.
If you didn't, can you play catch up?
Yeah. And have you adjusted it? Have you sought, maybe you've even adjusted it upwards? Maybe you got a raise, right? I think setting these goals, when you think about setting these goals, part of that whole, right, is part of having a goal is it's got to be trackable. It's got to be able to be seen that you're measuring it. Are you, and so if it's not measurable, then it's not really a goal. It's in my opinion, it's a dream, really. You're not really goal setting, you're dreaming. But so some of the things you do is, when you think about saving, is look at your pay stubs, pull your most recent pay stub, run that number, look
at year to date.
Look at year to date.
Divide by 6 and see, was that
how am I doing?
The number I was looking at?
Yeah.
Because you can still make adjustments.
Absolutely.
I know that HR departments don't want you to be changing your 401k allocation every day. We know that.
Yes.
But they should allow you to do at least once a quarter.
Yeah, at least every so often, whenever.
And obviously, you're a small business, it should be easier than if you're a big business where you got bureaucracy you have to go through.
Right. Correct. Yeah. I mean, you got. I know. There's.
And we may have done it, and maybe it didn't get done, and you didn't look at your paycheck, saying, that's right. I wanted to do that.
Oh yeah, it could be 401k. It could be tax withholding. Did you make sure you made some adjustments to your tax withholding? Did they actually go through many times? I can't tell you actually how many times. It's more than I can count on even 2 hands. How many times clients over the years, we've encouraged, hey, you need to make an adjustment to your withholding. They go in and they do it, and then they
follow up.
They don't follow up.
Right.
Assume you assume it's been done, and then 8 months go by, or even longer, perhaps even the whole year, and you realize, oh my goodness, that never did get done. You find yourself possibly between a rock and a hard place there at that point. Yeah. So, having something that you could track, maybe it's spending. When was the last time did you update the budget? When did you last review how much you spent last month on groceries? How much you spent last month for eating out?
And that should be really easy, because I know the bank I bank, well, I've been with a couple of different banks, but the one of them that I do does have a very easy program where it logs everything, whether it's coming from your credit card, your debit card, or a check. Yeah. Check, sometimes you have to do a little manipulation.
Correct.
But you can set that, and you can check it every day, check it every month, and
absolutely see how you're doing. Mm-hmm.
And there's other third-party ones as well, Mint.
Yep.
Yeah, and there's ones, but those you have to give permission for them to access all your accounts, and some people feel a little hesitant about that, and I get that.
I totally get that. With how many security breaches IT breaches there have been in the last 10 years. You know, how many tens of billions of dollars have been paid to settle those kinds of situations.
Well, speaking of that, if maybe at the beginning of the year you said, you know what, I'm going to replace my computer, or I'm going to get the roof redone, or there's some major project that you've been saving for that I'm actually going to do this year. Did it get done? And is there a reason that you're waiting to get it done? Is I'm going to do that in the fall because that's the time you do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or, you know, I know that we had, all that snow last year. There may have been some damage and maybe some of that's done, but now the money that you were going to do has been reallocated. Those things happen.
That happens.
And you just have to just say, okay,
we're going to reset.
Exactly.
Let's reset, and you go, okay, well, hey, we'll do it 3 months from now. Let's set it aside for the next 3 months and figure it out.
I have a great example. I was creating that bucket list, and obviously some things I want to do this year and then do the next year. So one of the things I wanted to do, I can't remember what it was right now, but it was something that it was time sensitive.
Right.
And so I almost tried to do it and couldn't do it because I'd waited too long. It filled up.
Yes.
Yeah. And so I said, okay, I've got to move that till next year. And now I'm going to calendar myself so many months in advance to make the reservation. It's too, because sometimes they won't let you make flight arrangements a year in advance.
Correct.
You have to do maybe 6 months and 3 months.
That's right.
And so put that on your calendar so it reminds you. Because if you're like me, I mean, I try to do a little to-do list every day.
Yeah.
And it's not always comprehensive, but these are the before I leave the office today, these are the things I need to get done. And it might be just a phone call.
It could be as easy, yes, absolutely.
But it could be, logging on and booking flights or doing some research on a vacation.
That's right.
Or looking for vendors to come do some sort of work around your house.
That's right. Yeah, you think about some of those. You always hate to use the word, bucket list, but that's just the common term. Yeah, yes. It's always sad to think of those things. But some of them, you might wait too long, right? I mean, imagine, I don't know if, an example is, right? Could have had a lifelong dream to go see Elton John. Well,
He's retired.
I think his last concert's like in a few weeks or something like that. It's coming up really soon. He said, I'm not doing any more. There will not be a secondary. Right.
He's not going to do the Eagle thing.
Exactly. Yes. No. And so some of those things are, I like how you said it. They're they can be very time sensitive, right? And some of them you don't know that they're time sensitive. What if it's, you've been wanting to I'll just stay on the avenue of a concert, right? Let's say you've been wanting to see an artist in particular. And what happens if that artist, has a health scare?
Yeah, and a lot of them didn't. We've lost quite a few this year in the last couple of years.
We've lost quite a few, and even young ones. I think if they're, you get that artist who's like, well, hey, I got to cancel my tour because I'm on, voice rest for the next, 6 months or whatever. You never know. So, not that we're encouraging people to go out and spend a ton of money doing these activities or whatever, checking off every bucket list item, right?
Yes.
There is a reason why we call it a bucket list. It's I want to do it before I die. Right. With the plan of, I'm not going to die for a long time, of course. Exactly. Right. Obviously. But it is good to kind of rehash some of these things. You look at your year halfway through. There's a great time to be looking at it and saying, how am I doing?
Yeah. Did I do the things I wanted to do? And if not, why not?
That's right.
Can I reschedule it, or do I move on to something else?
Yes. And have it, and possibly do I reprioritize this?
Mm-hmm. We had to can you say that?
Prioritize.
Word? Thank you. Because of damage we had to our property during the snows.
Yes.
Those dollars, that's something I had to take care of. Now, insurance took care of some of it,
right,
but not all of it.
Yeah.
And so that's money I had to take out of one of the buckets, and I don't have a disaster bucket.
Yes.
I do have a home maintenance bucket, and that's where it came from.
Right. But that might get drained down on something big like, hey, wow, we had 8 trees fall down or whatever.
We had a bunch of fence damage and barn damage. And
yes, absolutely.
And we just had the tree guy come out to do some, thinning and clearing out of dead stuff, so we don't have this issue next year, or hopefully we won't have it. Hopefully we have a very quiet fire season.
Let's hope so. Yes,
that's always a concern, and every year that we have one, I see, that's kindling for that. So
that's right. Oh, big time. And immediate, it's like biggest concern. One of the biggest concerns here in Northern California is, of course, the fire issue. Rick, with the last time that we have here, I'd love to go back to a little bit more discussion around your experience around more of a tourist-driven area with your recent trip to Hawaii, and the difficulty that you did or did not have in experiencing some of the more touristy things while you were there. Were things full? Were things... Well, you did mention that they were a bit more expensive. How much more? I mean, was this? Is some of the touristy areas like Hawaii way worse than we are? Like local inflation? Do you feel like things were up substantially more than even ours? Give us a little bit more perspective on the economic situation that you saw in that kind of very touristy area.
Yeah. I would say as far as general prices, the premium that you pay for going to a place like Hawaii, about the same. Everything's gone up, but I wouldn't say it's gone up double because of that.
Right. Well, that's good.
A couple of things. So we're part of the Marriott system, and over the years, we will stay at one of the resorts, and might have a meal or have drinks at that resort. And one of the frustrations is the food might be mediocre, but they would charge a lot for it.
Yes.
And especially on the drink side. And so prices were up, but I noticed the food was better. A little more expensive, but it was better.
That's good.
And the drinks, were more to my liking. So if I'm going to pay, $12 to $15 for a cocktail, I want to be able to taste the alcohol.
Right.
You don't understand that, but
I don't. You're absolutely
where I'll pay $2 more just so I can have a proper cocktail.
Yeah.
Than have fruit juice.
Right.
And I think that that's an adjustment that restaurants have made to say, okay, we're going to charge more, but we got to give a little bit more. Otherwise, we won't fill the seats because other people are, people are already budgeting as it is.
That's right.
Unless we give them a reason to spend more money, they're not going to do it. But as far as crowds, it wasn't like the place was empty. The place was restaurants were full, bars were full. Okay. We didn't try to book anything. Yeah. We didn't do like a helicopter tour. We had done the kayaking thing before. Yeah. We were really there just to kind of just chill because this is the first time we went without kids. Oh, very good. So it was just Eva and I. Yeah. And then we had our mother-in-law there for a few days. Yeah. But the weather was nice. Again, staffing shortages were noticeable somewhat. Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's everywhere. It is. It sure seems like it's everywhere. And I'm still really perplexed. What are these people doing? Because I think all the government programs are pretty much done at this point, aren't they? Pretty much all dried out. So where are these people? How are they surviving? Yeah, I was a friend of mine's son was looking for a job, and he'd never used the kind of technology stuff. So I went on monster.com and typed in the city he was living in. There were 10 to 12 different positions for warehouse workers. There you go. And $20 to $22 an hour, which is, not a king's fortune, but it's, it's better than, $12.50 or $14 or whatever. Yeah, better than it used to be. And, so jobs are out there. Jobs are out there. Ford announced 1,000 layoffs. So yes, there are big sectors. Certain sectors, certain businesses are adjusting or bracing for a recession possibly. And some of them overhired. You have parts of the tech sector that, they feel like, they overhired. They overstaffed, through some of these things. But I think logistics and hospitality still have shortages. And so if you're looking for a job, there's jobs out there. There are jobs out there. So if your goal is to get a job this year, that's right. Yes, halfway through the year, you need to get on it now. You get on it now. Yeah, absolutely. Well, as we wrap up here, we want to encourage all you listeners out there. You can listen to us every week, every Friday morning at 9:30 right here on KNCO. And as always, you can go to our website at ostrofinancial.com. You can click on the news link there, as well as our new YouTube channel also has recordings. Just search for Ostro Financial on YouTube. You'll be able to find the audio recordings of our shows. We are looking at possibly adding video at some point. But as always, you can give us a call at 273-4425 and come experience the difference when you think beyond investments. Bye, folks.
Information provided is for illustrative purposes only and does not constitute investment, tax, or legal advice. Information has been obtained from sources that are deemed to be reliable, but its accuracy and completeness are not guaranteed. Neither LPL Financial nor the hosts of this show or accept any liability for the use of the information discussed. Consult with a qualified financial, legal, or tax professional prior to taking any action. Securities offered through LPL Financial. Member FINRA SIPC. Investment advice offered through Ostro Financial Consultants, a registered investment advisor and separate entity from LPL Financial. Today's guest, Rick Fisher, is a financial advisor with Ostro Financial Consultants, National Planning member SIPC.